Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Snowbike channel. You want a wheelie like the big dogs? I'm going to teach you how. Stick around. Let's do this. So every year I get the question, how do I make my bike wheelie more? And really that boils down to a few things. I'll go over each, but in a broad sense, it depends on which kit you have. It depends on how your bike is set up with which settings. And it also depends on your riding style and riding input. So I'm going to cover all three of those things today and hopefully make you learn how to wheelie like the big dogs. So the first thing that you have to realize is the differences between the Aero kits and the Riot kits. The Riots are built specially so that they can transfer weight up and back and allow the front ski to pick up. And so naturally the Riots just wheelie better, a little bit easier. Now that's not to say that the Aero kits can't wheelie. It just takes a little bit more rider input, and you can also change some of the settings on the kit as well. But today I'm going to go over some of the things that you need to think about when you're setting up your kit to make it a little bit more rowdy, if that's what you're looking for. And if you've bought yourself a 2025 Riot 3 Pro, they'll come with these limiter straps. And the cool thing this year that Timbersled has done is they have now done away with their Aero kits, and they introduced this limiter strap for the Riot kits, and their claim was that this limiter strap would actually keep the ski planted and behave similar to the Aero kits. And so far this winter, of the few rides that I've been out on, their claim is true. This $20 strap basically is now giving you two kits into one. You know, if you really wanted the Aero characteristics, but then there's some days where you kind of wish that you had the Riot characteristics, you can accomplish all of that now with a strap. And so if you are looking to make your kit a little bit more rowdy and have it be a little bit more playful, then I'd recommend removing this strap. And if you find that it's a little too rowdy, you can always put the strap back on, or you can change the skid settings on your shocks. And so I'll cover that now. One thing I'll say real quick is I like to use a little bit of this bolt or nut indicator and actually mark the knob, the clicker on the shocks. And so I can immediately look at it in the backcountry and know exactly which setting it's on. So I'll go over the shock settings. And one thing you have to know is that on the TSS, the rear soft strut, there's three clicker settings. There's a soft, medium, and firm. On the front skid shock, there's the same thing. And then on the rear shock, there's three settings. There's a soft, medium, and actually a lockout. And so between those three shocks, having three settings, there's something like 27 different configurations that you can have. And when you get the kit from the factory, you might have played with those settings, and there's 27 different configurations. And so a lot of people ask me, what's the secret sauce to making these things wheelie? And I'm going to share that with you right now. Okay, so here at the back of the bike, this is the TSS. And again, you can see I marked it with a little bit of orange indicator, so I know that this shock setting is on firm. So for the Riot setting, what I like to call the Rowdy Riot setting, You leave this on firm. Now moving to the front shock in the skid. You move this clicker either to firm or medium. And then now moving back all the way to the rear shock in the skid, you move this to soft. And in doing that, you really allow the whole kit to transfer weight to the back. And that's what really makes the secret sauce happen. When all that weight gets transferred to the back, it's generating ski lift, and that's what really makes these kits jump out of the snow and wheelie. Now, when you're setting up your TSS, there's also air pressure inside of that shock, and that's kind of one of those things that I set up in the beginning of the season and I forget about it. I'll check the pressure once or twice throughout the season just to make sure that it's maintaining pressure, but I weigh about 190 pounds and I keep about 350 pounds of air in the TSS. You can change that if you feel like, you know, you've got it on firm setting and you feel like it's a little too firm. You can pull some air out of there and make it a little bit softer, or vice versa. You can add more air and make it as firm as you want. With that setting on 3 and 350 pounds, it's a really firm shock, and when I'm out in deep snow, I want that to be firmed up. It climbs a little bit better, and it also helps transfer the weight better so that when I do try to wheelie, none of that energy is being lost going down into that TSS. Instead, all of that energy is being transferred back to the back of the kit and helping you pull that ski up. So that's kind of the secret sauce. That's the secret settings. You can play with those settings. You could start there if you're just in your mind, you're thinking, I want this bike to be as rowdy as possible. You can go right to those settings and play around and make adjustments from there. The other things that you can do to your bike that will influence or help your bike's ability to wheelie is your fork height and the triple clamps. You've noticed here that I've got them up pretty high. They're pretty much almost bottomed out. And the bar risers themselves, these are the stock bar risers, but they do have 2 settings. You can rotate those and have your bars be more forward or more backward. And I've played around with that. And for my personal preference, I prefer to have the bars closer to me now. I kind of started off with the bars being further forward, and I didn't like that feeling, and so I reverted back now to having the bars closer to me. Also the bar positioning, you can rotate the bars, and all that you're doing, those subtle movements that you're doing with your bar risers and your bars, is positioning yourself closer or further back over the bike. And in doing that, you're changing the weight distribution and the center of gravity in the bike, and all those influence how the bike's going to behave and how it's going to wheelie. The last thing I'll talk about too that's been kind of a game changer this year is these fall line foot pegs, and these things are awesome. I've got a video that I'll put up in the up here somewhere, and you can check that out. When I first got them, I was a little skeptical, and they're expensive. They're, you know, that's the biggest complaint everybody has, is they're like $350, and but when I got them, they are a really quality piece of metal, nice design to them, and they do they do the job. When you lean on those things and pull back, it definitely holds a wheelie a lot longer. And once you get the ski up and you're wheeling, it allows you to kind of transfer your weight and just steer with the track. And it's just a different kind of phenomenon riding these things. I mean, if you're on a good side hill and you're fooling around, these pegs really bring the bike to a different kind of place. I just think that this is going to be kind of the new thing on all bikes. People are going to want this. The ability to quickly transfer the weight back like that, it's going to generate more lift, and it's going to make the bike wheelie even faster and sustain wheelies longer. So I'm excited to play around with them, see what they do this year. And yeah. Now the last thing I'll talk about is the technique. And you know, once you've got the bike set up the way you want it, and you've got all these different settings in play, and you feel good about it, the last piece to this puzzle is just rider technique and looking at terrain and trying to identify places to initiate wheelies. And when I'm running across an open flat area and I want to try to wheelie somewhere, you know, I'm looking for subtle little features on the snow to try and use that to sort of leverage the wheelie or initiate the wheelie. And so I'm looking around. If I see like a little boulder, little pocket pillow, or a little dip, and then a quick uprise, anything, you can use those to your advantage. And as you approach them, you come up, you identify maybe a small little feature that you're going to use, and just as I come up to it, I almost put my weight down onto the handlebars and I load the front suspension. And all I'm trying to do there is just take advantage of a little bit of rebound coming off the front forks. And if you can do that and time it so that you load the suspension and then come up, you get that little bit of a pop that kind of helps you pull the front ski up. And at that point, you're on your way. You're doing wheelies. So that's really what it's about. You know, it's at that point you're just trying to lean back and pull some of your weight back. And once you have done, you start doing this yourself, you'll find that as soon as the wheelie is initiated and you've got the ski in the front air, you can kind of lean and make the kit kind of go different directions. And as soon as you start learning that, then you're well on your way to doing re-entries. And if you pick a hillside to play on, try to look for like kind of a short, abrupt hillside to play on, and come at it, maybe in like second gear, and load up the suspension like I said, and then use the throttle and just goose it hard. And once you get it up, learn to start peeling your body weight away from the hill and looking back down again. And people always say if you look where you want to go, that's where you'll end up going. And I'm a firm believer in that, especially when you're trying to do these re-entries. As soon as you get the ski up and you're thinking about doing a re-entry, as soon as you start looking that way, just I think weight from your head transitioning, your body transitioning, and you're looking down, it's going to pull that whole bike around, and then you're going to finish a re-entry. And the first time you do it, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty thrilling when you pull it off. So practice, that's the last thing, get out there and fool around. The nice thing about these snow bikes is you wipe out, you spit out some snow out of your mouth, and you do it again. They're pretty forgiving. So get out there, have fun. Hope this video helps you. And let me know down in the comments if you're starting to pull off some massive wheelies, doing your first bow ties and re-entries. And I hope this video helps you progress you into new riding styles that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So take care, everyone. Happy brapping. Later.